Good evening, fellow Ambazonians. Greetings to you all. I hope everyone is doing well. We hope you are all staying strong. Today, the Ambazonia Defense Forces, your National Liberation Army, struck the Cameroon occupation military, carried out a very devastating attack against the occupation military in Bamenda. Watch this video.
Express Fantare Convo Chia Street.
You see, I don't think I see as you know. Just continue with the way they are again. So bad.
Express Fantare Convo Chia Street.
You see, I don't think I see as you know. Just continue with the way they are again.
Express Fantare Convo Chia Street.
You see, I don't think I see as you know. Just continue with the way they are again. So bad. I beg me someone bring you water.
As we have said many times, and let me state it again, without a visionary, pragmatic leadership, no people can be free. Without a leadership, a visionary, pragmatic leadership with a focus on the humanity of the people, no people will be free. A people without leadership remains in bondage, and forever they will be occupied. We have been occupied for far too long. It has taken a new set of leaders to bring hope to the Ambazonian people. For us to get to the promised land, it requires a new thinking system. For our people to have the dignity, life, hope, for them to be free, for them to live in abundance and taste the good things of life, it requires innovation. Today, we are very proud to announce a landmark policy to give total hope to the Ambazonian people. Today, we as a people, we are so proud as a people and as an organization to announce a life-changing, a liberation-changing, a game-changer policy that will help to end Cameroun's occupation. Today, we are honored and we are deeply grateful for the extraordinary work that our experts, our legal experts, our financial experts, our defense experts have worked together over the last few months to craft a policy that will advance the liberation of our people, strengthen the capabilities of our defense forces, help us to improve the quality of our educational systems and our institutions, and to provide better healthcare services and community development to the Ambazonian people. Today, the Ambazonia Governing Council, today, the leader of the people, sent out a message that he has paid his liberation tax. The Ambazonia Governing Council has crafted a new liberation law that compels, that made it mandatory and compulsory for every Ambazonian in the diaspora to be an active participant for the survival of the Ambazonian state and for the protection of the Ambazonian children, Ambazonian women, and for the defense of the sovereignty of Ambazonia. The Ambazonia Governing Council has enacted a new liberation policy, a new law that compels every Ambazonian in the diaspora to not be a bystander for the liberation of Ambazonia, but to be an active participant for the survival of our people. The Ambazonia Governing Council, a month ago, introduced the Ambazonian Liberation Tax for the Ambazonian people across the 13 states in the territory, where every man is required by the liberation law to pay 10,000 francs and every woman to pay 5,000 francs. Our people across the territory, they show a level of passion and enthusiasm because now it is their liberation. They are taking charge of their own liberation, taking charge to make sure communities are defended, forces are well equipped, clinics can be built, community development, community infrastructures can be put in place. Many across the territory also ask, why is it that the people on the territory who bear the pain of the war, who sacrifice on every Monday to observe Monday ghost towns, who are living in abject poverty, deep levels of suffering, why should it that only people on the ground should pay the liberation tax? The Ambazonia Governing Council went back to work, took the advice of the people on the ground, and said, if the people on the ground that are doing the fighting have to pay liberation tax, then the liberation tax should also be compulsory. It should also be mandated those in the diaspora should be compelled to do the same. So today, we have responded to that request, and with deep consultation with the forces and communities, our policy makers have introduced an amendment to the liberation tax policy that now includes every Ambazonian in the diaspora. This is great news for the Ambazonian people. It takes a lot of money to acquire the kind of defense power that is needed, that is required to liberate the people. You've seen what has happened in Burkina Faso. It took power to send out puppets and for nationalists to rise up and institute nationalism for the advancement of the people of Burkina Faso. You've seen what has happened in Niger. Ambazonians are the only people that want freedom without investments. Ambazonians are the only people that want freedom without commitment. Ambazonians are the only people that want freedom through protest. That want freedom through debates. It has come to an end. Freedom requires sacrifice. It requires investment. It requires the building of power. You don't have power, you become a beggar. You can't beg for freedom. Beggars remain slaves. In the last 60 years, Ambazonians have begged Cameroon. What has happened? When the Ambazonian Governing Council introduced innovative strategies, they have changed the dynamics of power. Today, Ambazonian is known across the globe. Cameroon has begged to come to the table and talk. And then they sheepishly crawl back to the tables of manipulation and deception. For our people to be free, for us to stop the killings of Ambazonians by Cameroon occupation terrorists, we must acquire power. The liberation tax will help the Ambazonian people across the territory, for our forces and the transition authority to raise all the funds that are required to increase our defense capabilities, to build a kind of power that will give us Ambazonian back, the kind of power that will help us to be able to protect every Ambazonian citizen, defend every inch of our territory, and send Cameroon out of our land. The liberation tax will help us to provide quality community-based education to every Ambazonian child, especially in liberated territories, and provide quality health services which is free to the Ambazonian people, improve community development, and advance the quality of life for our people. The new liberation tax introduced for Ambazonians in the diaspora would help us to increase the funds we raise and to be directed for the defense of homeland. This is the time. This is mandatory. This is compulsory. If you live in the diaspora, do not go to the territory without your liberation tax receipt. If you are on the territory, don't travel from one city to the next without your liberation tax receipt. There will be massive enforcement. Our forces will be firm. Don't travel from one state to the next without your liberation tax. Don't. If you don't have your liberation tax receipt, as they talk, just forget it. All right? Fellow Ambazonians, it take the power for people them for be free. If people will not get a leadership, will be visionary, it be pragmatic, it be hardworking, they need to ever be free. Those people that they remain slaves and they always remain for occupation. Now the thing that don't happen for Ambazonia since 1961. It don't take now a different level of leadership for this generation for rise, for this generation for be inspired to the level where Ambazonians, where they be and fear people them. They now be the bravest people for this world. We don't come so far now because of this new level of visionary and pragmatic leadership. Leadership, we get it like iron. You get backbone. You get better food than for ground. Not be leadership them, like the one them for a big papa them, or a big mommy them. Not be a leadership for fear. Fear people, they remain slaves. Fear people, that they be recolonized. People with the fear, where they not get a sense of direction. You need to ever, better need to always be them. It take power, it take courage, it take strength for a people to be free. The young colonel, we don't rise up for Burkina Faso. Ibrahim Traore. When I don't see it take a protest for take power for give people them freedom for Burkina Faso. It take the power. It take the power of guns. It take the gun them for the country, for use them, for kick out the puppets, for give the people of Burkina Faso the real freedom where they need them, for bring in the kind of humanity and for create a system of governance, whatever the people of Burkina Faso they choose them, where it will give the Burkina Faso them the kind of development, the kind of protection, the kind of peace, and the kind of dignity where they need them. When I don't see for Niger, they don't woke up, tell their neo-colonialists, they don't take them for street for protest. They take them the same power where they use them for oppress them, for kick out the puppets. Now only we want freedom through protest. We want freedom through letters writing. We want freedom through grammar. We want freedom through debates. Now only the Ambazonian people, they be the only people for this world who they be occupied and their own freedom that they want them now by the force of argument. They want to argue their oppressor. Your oppressor get gone. You talk say one argue. Your oppressor get army. you talk say you want go argue with. Your press or get gendarme, it create police, it create secret intelligence services, it start for buy tanks, bulletproofs. You Ambazonia, they so shidon. They say because of the rightness and the justness of their cause, some person somewhere, someday, he go pity them and then you can't give them freedom. Now for which kind of book una go learn am? Things don't change today with the centers of power. They don't change hand. Now because the Ambazonia Governing Council, it talks say we not use stupidity and foolishness for continue make Ambazonia be under occupation. And then some people that they travel begin to talk nonsense. When they go to the centers of corridors of power, they ask and say, why would I not do what you do? When they go for America, we don't go there. They go begin to talk, say, they're the Kiwa people them. The Americans, they look and say, why would not stupid too? They use now what to kill now people them. They use now guns. What to stop now from buying guns and from carrying guns and for go kill them too. The moment the Ambazonia Governing Council invoke the right of self-defense of the Ambazonian people then, they talk within the corridors of diplomacy. They don't change. We need to go back anymore. We talk now with power. Without power, you don't get power. Now diplomacy, now the power. Now the power, it give you power for diplomacy. All right? We introduced the liberation tax. Through time, the Ambazonia Governing Council, it don't introduce many innovative strategies for help for raise money constantly, for generate new ways for raise money, for help the Ambazonian people them, make them build the kind power we go give Ambazonia them back Ambazonia. We don't make progress so far, build all kind brigades, barrack, armed forces them. It never reach to the level we go give Ambazonia back. It don't reach only for the level where we get notice by the international system. But it never reach to the level we get for take Ambazonia back. It never reach to the level where Cameroon get for start for pack out. We introduced the liberation tax for the people for ground zero, and now we don't introduce the one for diaspora. Now for help the Ambazonian people then, make they raise all the money where they need them for build the level of force. We go push Cameroon out. It go stop the Cameroon terrorist forces from burning our communities, burning our houses, and for kill our people them. Now power, it give people them freedom. Now power, they give people them freedom. People need beggars, they need to be free. They remain slaves. Una the year, this liberation tax policy now a means for woke up the nationalism, the commitment of every Ambazonian for ground zero and for diaspora. Now for all we. So if you did for ground zero, make talk say you come up Kumba, Manfe, you go Kumba. If you not get a liberation tax receipt. Me no talk say go come up Boya, you go Bamenda. If you not get a liberation tax receipt. Me no talk say you go come out for Bello. You come from Bengui. If you not get a liberation tax receipt. You know if you walk out from one Ambazonian state to the next, if you not carry a liberation tax receipt. All right? What forces them? Any driver where a motor never pay a liberation tax, that motor not fi walk out from Ambazonian streets. The driver SSF, if he never pay liberation tax, he and the motor, they go stop them for road until they pay their liberation tax before the driver, he drive the motor, before the motor walk out from Ambazonian street. or before you want enter any motor for move from one town to the next, make sure so you get a liberation tax receipt. If you not get them, they go move you, keep them for down until you pay them before you enter inside motor. Would you take these strong measures, not be for punish an Ambazonia, but now for say, after 7 years, we require all we, for every person must play a part and contribute what it be required for Ambazonia for be free. No man no go be a bystander anymore. Through this law, as an Ambazonian, where you there for that territory, even if you be a foreigner, as long as you there for that territory of Ambazonia, you must pay your liberation tax for the liberation of Ambazonia. That's so it is now. That's so it be required. The time for beg people them, make them participate for their own freedom and for rescue themselves and so for survive themselves, it don't pass. Now the law. As Christmas they come, or people there they travel for go bury their loved ones, for go do marriage, for go be house, for go do business from diaspora to ground zero. If you not get a liberation tax receipt, when you reach on the ground, you go pay na 1 million. When you reach on the ground from diaspora, you go pay na 1 million. And make you not blame the ADF. Not blame the AGOFC. Say you go for down, they stop you. Pay your liberation tax before you buy your flight ticket. Because when you want to go for La République, you go pay them $200 for visa for go their country. The Ambazonia Governing Council. So after all which I don't talk, now how much be the liberation tax for diaspora? Liberation tax for ground zero, 10,000 francs for man picking them, 5,000 francs for woman them. Okay. Ground zero say, why now only we for ground zero, we get for pay liberation tax? Now we defy the war, now we did die, now we did suffer, now we did burn our house. So why be saying now only ground zero get for pay liberation tax? Now the question that way ground zero, it asked the AGOFC. So all the AGOFC policy makers, they go shit on. They bring one lawyer them, they go shit on. They bring one financial expert, they go shit on. They say, okay, ground zero, now they observe Monday goes down, they sacrifice. Ground zero, they die. Ground zero, they dig graves. Ground zero, they do the fighting. Ground zero, they contribute. Now ground zero, they pay liberation tax. What about people then for diaspora? So AGOFC, it listen for the advice from ground zero, say diaspora too must pay liberation tax. AGOFC, it don't amend the liberation tax law, and every Ambazonian man picking or woman for diaspora, we don't reach the age of 19 years. Yes? We don't reach the age of 19 years. It be required by the law, by the liberation law, for pay $100 for the liberation tax. And that $100, a minimum, I correct myself. Every Ambazonian for diaspora, if you did for the diaspora for Africa, that means you did outside of ground zero, you did be required now for pay $50. Anywhere within the African continent, you be required for the diaspora liberation tax law for pay $50. If you did outside of the African continent, it requires you for pay $100 for the year. A minimum of $100. That means $100 now the minimum. Where if you did outside of African continent, you pay. Okay? What do they call and say the Western Hemisphere? That's what they call it. Alright? All the people they did for Singapore, Malaysia, New Zealand, India, Japan, China, all right? All the people they did for Europe, all the people they did for Middle East, okay? They did for Persian Gulf, all man, now $100 minimum. Okay, $100 minimum. So now we get for give our people them hope, and that hope not be more. We need to give. You need to give people them hope for more. It requires hard work. We believe in hard work. We believe, say, for be free, every person it must participate. And if we take every person, imagine waiting will feel raise them. How much the millions them will feel raise them as a people. And as we know, based on our systems of accountability and results, the egg of C it be required by the liberation tax law. Say the Ambazonia Governing Council at the end of every month, it can give an account to the Ambazonian people then about the liberation tax which they don't collect for that month. The Ambazonia Governing Council it be required by the liberation tax law for give a monthly account to the Ambazonian people then. Say for the month, this month, now how much money we don't collect them on the ground and how much money we don't collect them for the territory. Secondly, the egg of C it be required by that law for disclose if the egg of C put now 5 million for a certain state. The egg of C must talk say for this month we put 5 million for here, we put 2 million for here, we put 300,000 for here, we put 400,000 for here. The egg of C it be mandated by the law for give an account, a public account to the Ambazonian people for the liberation tax. So that what happened in the past for other movement them, make it not happen with this liberation tax. And so we want the Ambazonian people that they pay this liberation tax, make the whole the Ambazonia Governing Council to the strict account. Una whole egg of C leadership to account and for be as transparent as possible, for keep their own word and their own promise. All right. Now in our organization, now in our institution, we for year we then for serve the public and for do what to be right for our people then. The liberation tax policy, now the right thing for do them, now the right thing for implement them, now the right thing for do them at the right time. For make sure say we end Cameroon the occupation for our land. Make a repeat them. This liberation tax law not been for inconvenience our people them, not been for force our people them, not been for cause hardship or pain for our people them, but now for say all we do weighty it takes so that our land if it be free, so that all we feel enjoy life. Our brothers them, our sisters them, our mommy them, our picking the way they born them from inside forest, they feel come back home. Our mommy them, our papa them, our brothers and sisters, where they don't be scattered for refugees across Nigeria and many African countries, and the one way they work up from inside bush, from the Sahara Desert to the jungles of Mexico. They figure hope. Our brothers and sisters, our papa them, our mama them, where they did for prison, if we bring them back home. Our schools and where they don't be destroyed. Every state, every district, if we start to rebuild our community institutions them and provide our mommy them, our sisters them, especially pregnant women, with access to free clinics where they go to check themselves or make sure that they born healthy Ambazonian children. And they walk this ahead of way. We'll be the Ambazonia, we'll be egg of sea. We'll be the hope, the bearers of hope. Now we defend the liberation. We'll not just want to talk. We'll not just want to talk to me go fight Cameroon. But all we got to do the hard work will be required for give hope to the average Ambazonian on the territory. If all we put our hands together, if all we mobilize, if all we do our part, If every person play a part, this year, Cameroon will back out. We'll get a possibility, we'll get a chance. The liberation tax is enough for your hand. This weekend will come. In the next 3 days, the president of Ambazonia Governing Council, the leader of our liberation, Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, he will come to the public and he signed the Ambazonia Diaspora Liberation Tax Law into law. Right? Una mobilize. If you never pay liberation tax, pay them. If you don't know how to pay them, contact me and contact any official of Ambazonia Governing Council. Make I conclude. We know say noise over plenty for outside. We know say because of social media, any person get a loud microphone. Because of social media, the noise too much. You know who be your leadership. You know who they fight for you. You know who they work for your interest. And who they be spoilers. If you want to find out where they go on, how to pay your liberation tax, follow and ask any official of the AGOFC. And they appeal to the Ambazonian people then. Una cut una self off from anything with the distract una. Una cut una self off from noisemakers, spoilers, and corrupt and implanted agent. Una cut una self off from the spokesmen and spokeswomen of Cameroon special status. Una cut una self off from the one they wanna know say they don't be compromised. Una follow the track record where we don't set them for una. And the work we do them for ground zero. Una block una minds from the devils. From agents of confusion. Una block una minds from the destructive and confusing noise where Cameroon manufacture them on a daily basis for keep you disoriented. Focus on your liberation tax. Focus on the strategy. The forces on the ground will be very firm. If you go listen for confusion, you reach for an Ambazonian road. Some person tell you, say, not pay a liberation tax. Oh, not listen for those people then. If you listen for people there, they tell you, say, make you not listen for your nationalists. When you reach your road, you go know the difference between noise for social media and authority and power on the ground. The Ambazonia Governing Council, now the authority and power on the ground. The Ambazonia Governing Council, now the authority, now the recognized authority and power on the ground. If you listen for anything else, and you not take this message serious, you get yourself to blame. When you be stopped and you get to pay that 5,000, that 10,000 on the spot, not blame any person. If you listen for Cameroon agents and you not listen for your own liberation leaders and liberation freedom fighters where they fight for your freedom, get yourself to blame. Disconnect yourselves from the toxic noise and the poison being manufactured by Cameroon for keep you disoriented and for keep you as a slave under Cameroon special status we need to exist. Cameroon never fit for give itself special status. Now you can't give special status. Cameroon never give its own people then soap, road, schools, hospitals. Cameroon never fit for clean the garbage in the streets of Cameroon. Now Cameroon go can reconstruct you. Cameroon no get money for develop Cameroon. Cameroon go get na money for can develop you. The people who need special status na Cameroon we don't decide to freedom one time. And we must give ourselves that freedom. The ADF and all the nationalist forces on the ground, the Hague of City bring all forces on the ground together for implement liberation tax first for the survival of these states, of these forces. Make it be very clear to all Ambazonian forces, all forces on the ground. For you to survive, you must come under a direct political leadership. We will help you get the consistent support and funding and guidance. Most forces that they die because no person not the way fit provide them with intelligence on the movement of the enemy. They die because they don't get support. When I come under a direct political leadership, when I go survive. And when I go benefit from the liberation tax. When I stop for the suffer on our own. Alright? Now hope this for everybody. Our message is for all now. A message say hope it come from Ambazonia. Every man and woman, diaspora and ground zero, now it be compelled for pay liberation tax. May God bless Ambazonia. With the leader, he will talk for now over the weekend.